Rebellions are built on hope.
Welcome to another episode of Radio Rebellion, a Star Wars podcast. I am your host, Alberto Calderon. Thank you for joining us on another great Star Wars weekend. And here he's back, our friend, Oti. How you doing, Oti?
Hi, Alberto. I'm doing good. Hot Puerto Rico afternoon, but
oh wow, I can imagine. I would say I don't miss them. I do sometimes. It does. I'm in Florida, where it does get a bit cold for me sometimes, but
December is a bit cooler for you guys, but summer is, I think it's as hellish.
Yeah, summer is bad. It's still hot. It was fall. I think it was around Wednesday on Thursday. It's officially fall, like September 22nd or whatever. And then temperature drop. I woke one morning to go to work. It was like 62 degrees or 63. Like it's kind of a bit chilly to what I'm used to. But then it's 4 in the afternoon. It's back to almost 90 degrees, and you forget that you think it's still summer. So yeah, it takes a little bit to get used to it. But then when December comes and I'm used to Puerto Rico still, it's like 30 degrees some days. I'm like, no, I don't get used to it.
So here, as the years have gone by, December is a lot cooler. Like I say that this maybe from November to February, we get like nice temperature.
Yeah.
But after that, hell on earth.
Yeah, it's like 2 months of, it's okay. And then.
But it has never gone down to 30. I think maybe the lowest, the mid 60s.
Yeah, unless if you're in the mountains, then maybe it's a little bit.
You get hail and shit.
When we moved here, my wife came to a job interview in mid-February. And I'm like, it's Florida. It's the same as Puerto Rico. We had very light jackets. And a friend of hers had moved prior to the same place. She was like, I'll take you out to dinner that night. And we met her and we were freezing. Well, I think it was in the 40-somethings. I was dying, like going from the restaurant to her car, was freezing, chilling. I'm like, what the hell is this? This is not the Florida I thought. But we started getting a little bit used to it, but still it catches us by surprise. But all right, so with all that chit chat out of the way, we're here to talk Star Wars, not cold, unless we talk about Hoth or Crate, some of those planets out there. So before we start, any kind of Star Wars thing you did this week? Or anything, I don't know, anything Star Wars related happened in your life?
Well, apart from Visions, no. Well, I've been listening to Tempest Runner.
Oh.
I started out strong, but then Visions came out and it went down a little bit. So probably after we record this, I'll get back into it. Really enjoying it.
Where are you? We talked about Tempest Runner last week here. Really enjoyed that book. Gives you a lot of backstory on Lorna D. I saw that character in a different light. Kudos to Kevin Scott. He did the same thing for me, at least, with Dooku Jedi Lost. Took him from a character that, I like Dooku. He's a cool guy, to now being one of my favorites out there.
That one's great.
Yeah, he did something similar here with Lorna D and Tempest Runner. So glad to hear you're enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, so let's say hi to a few people out there. Dale, how you doing? I saw your other. I was spotted. Dale's here. He's taking a nap, and that's fine. Dale, relax. I went out this morning. Went on a nature walk. I'm ready to take a nap. So after this, you'll go back to reading Tempest Run. I might take a little. I'll take Dale's example and go and take a little nap or something. All right. So if you guys are ready, I know I'm ready. Let's talk Star Wars, and as always, let's do a little bit of Star Wars news. Yeah, so Star Wars news, like actual news, has been a little bit slow. There's a few things out there, a couple of nuggets, but not a bunch of news. But like you mentioned, the big thing this week has been Star Wars Visions. And just really quick, because next week we're going to dive deep here into Star Wars Visions, whole spoiler review with our friend Lauren Romo from the Galactic Podcast. She'll be here. But Oti, real quick, you mentioned you put Tempest Runner to the side, Star Wars Visions came out. Just real quick, your thoughts on it, and any of those shorts kind of stood out for you?
Yeah, sure. So I really loved it. There were shorts, obviously, that really didn't connect with me. I'll discuss them on Monday on my podcast, and I'll probably tweet about it. But yeah, there was some of them that didn't connect, but I would say that most of them did. I had a hard time doing like a ranking of episodes.
Yeah,
I was clear on which one was my number one, which was Ninth Jedi. I absolutely loved it. but it was hard ranking them because I really liked a bunch of them. The twins, the
Yeah,
duel. You know, I really had even one like TOB1.
yeah.
Through half of that, I was like, okay, this isn't for me. And then you get that fight in the
The
end, and I'm
fight at the
like,
end, yeah.
oh, this is so cool. So there was something to enjoy on all of them, and I really liked it. And I would love a second season if it
Were
came.
you because a lot of people, oh, I'm not an anime fan, but this Star Wars I'm gonna watch it. Some others, yeah, I love anime all the time. So you've been an anime fan before this? No?
Nope. The only anime I've ever watched was Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Super, anything in the Dragon Ball
Yeah.
world. That's the only
I
anime
think that's a
I've
Puerto Rican thing because I think most Puerto Ricans kind of go with Dragon Ball Z. That's the one that we kind of grew up and we could actually watch in Puerto Rico.
If you were a kid or a teenager in the 90s in Puerto Rico, you know Dragon Ball Z
Yeah,
because
yeah.
they gave it on Cartoon Network, and I think there was a local channel that
There
showed it
was
throughout the day.
yes on the weekend I think Saturdays and Sundays really early like 6:30 or 7. I remember waking
Yeah,
up with my brother and watching it.
yeah.
And so I of course Dragon Ball Z was the one for me, but I also watched some of the older ones like Guyver,
Okay.
Robotech a little bit, and then Messenger, and a bunch of the older 80s one. Not the newer kind of more, I don't know, the newer anime. I haven't been able to follow it, but I kind of grew with that. So I was interested in that sense. Of course, it's Star Wars, so we're gonna watch it. Same as you, I found something to enjoy from all of the 9 episodes,
Hmm.
but there were like 3 or 4 that really stood out to me.
Okay.
Which were first was the twins. It's just chaotic, and that one reminded me of Dragon Ball Z,
Yeah,
the
it's
fight
very
scenes.
Dragon Ball
And
Z.
I've seen people say, "Oh, the fights didn't make sense, or it wasn't Star Wars, it was too old." I said, "Yes, exactly. That's
It
why I
was
love it.
Dragon
This
Ball.
is Dragon Ball Z."
I
Uh,
was I was waiting for a Super Saiyan to show up.
yeah, it's Super Saiyan versus Perfect Cell or whatever, just going at it, and then Vegeta's on the other side. So it was extremely chaotic in that sense. It just one up in each other. So I love that one. The duel then came next, Ninth Jedi. Sorry, not the duel. The Elder,
Okay.
Ninth Jedi, then the duel, and then kind of kept going down. But like you mentioned, there was something in all of them that kind of stood out, even if it just the music or the animation style. So there were a few things that stood out there for everything.
Yep.
But let's say hi before we move to our next topic. And like I said, we'll dive deep into Star Wars Visions next week. Our friend Tony, Mr. Rest is here. How you doing? And yeah, Dale is saying hi to all of us. Odi, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You got a new name here. Dale just Chris, and he
That's
do the
actually I'm gonna say it. That's my personal Twitter actually.
all right, it's there. Sorry, Dale just broke the news here.
Yep.
But when you come on, that's gonna be your new monikers. Odi one Kenobi. We'll go with that. Thank you, Dale. Dale's always every time I forget something, Dale is the one to kind of no, this is why. But all right. So the other news was, I guess it's kind of a rumor, kind of not, that Ludwig Göransson is returning to compose the Book of Boba Fett, which to me makes sense. He made Boba Fett's theme for Mando season 2. He scored 2 seasons of Mandalorian. It's in the same universe, same characters, at least some of them. So no surprise, really.
Yeah, I was expecting this when it like broke. I was like, oh, this wasn't a thing. Like,
This
and
news?
yeah, man, he's great. Like he did a great job with Mandalorian. So I can't wait to see what he does with Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett. I would have loved to maybe get a new voice in,
Mhm.
but it's fine. Yeah, he's the guy. He
Yeah.
rocks.
I mean, to me, this makes sense. Again, it's characters that he's known. He's created things for these characters. He's in the same universe. So to me, it's a given. Like you said, really, this is breaking news. Kind of, we expected this. But now, going to Kenobi, going to Andor, give me someone else. I keep saying for Andor, give me Michael Giacchino again. Yeah, he did Rogue One. Didn't have a lot of time to do that one. To me,
Mhm.
he killed it. Bring him back to do the Cassian Andor TV
That'll be
show.
cool.
That would be killer for me. So
Yeah.
we can hope. We'll see.
Do you think they'll use Ludwig in Ahsoka too? Since being in the same like cluster.
I would say that anything that's related to what they call this Mandoverse will be him, just to keep
Mhm.
that same feeling. if you bring a new composer, again, I don't compose music, but everyone has their different style. I think if everything was going to be connected in Mando, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and then if they do this big get together, or even Rangers of the New Republic, if they do that one, I think they want the same feel. I'm guessing they'll use him, but I'm not in those conversations, so we'll see.
No.
All right, so that's that for Star Wars news. And here today, we're celebrating it's Hispanic Heritage Month. You have two Puerto Ricans here. We gotta talk about it. And let's talk about some Hispanic and Latins out there and our favorite actors that plays those characters. I don't know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Here's a little intro to it. Let's talk Star Wars. Let's talk Hispanics and Latins in Star Wars. All right, so we have to do it. And one thing we talked about this as we were preparing the show and getting some notes, there's a lot more Hispanic and Latino actors out there in Star Wars. To me, okay, there's Ben Organa, there's Cassian Andor, and who else? And you start going through the list, and then you send me your list, and oh crap, I forgot all this. Were you surprised at how much representation there is for us?
Yeah, it was funny because we didn't know what this episode was going to be initially.
Yeah.
And you told me, oh, think about, possible subject matters. And I thought about this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, but there's not that many. And then you suggested it. And I was like, well, I wanted to do it. And it's your show. So yeah, let's do it. And when I sat down to do my list, I was like, oh my God, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
So I was pleasantly surprised, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Like you said, I called you up or messaged you on Twitter, however we're gonna call it these days. Hey, I got an open slot coming up. I don't have a theme for it, but if you wanna show up, if you wanna come up, let's do it. You were, yeah, let's go ahead. And then Hispanic Heritage Month came in. I thought, okay, I guess it's time. I haven't talked about really Hispanic or Latin actors out there in Star Wars. Let's go ahead and do this. You're okay with it. Same thing. First thing I did, I Googled it. And then I had like 9 names pop up. And I'm like, okay, I forgot about this one. I forgot about that one. Oh, yeah. Horatio Sands in Mandalorian. He's half Latino. I forgot about this. So there's a lot of them out there, which is great to see.
And even seeing our list, there were some on yours that I was like, oh, right.
Yeah, and then when we posted this on Twitter, like early on the week, a few people jumped in. Hey, don't forget about this one. Don't forget about this other one. Oh, yeah, I did forget about those one. Let me write it down. We tried in this show, especially in our second season, to talk about inclusivity and representation. A lot of our guests kind of gave word. That's why we got them. And then we've talked also about the importance of representation in media. Either Afro-American actors, people of color, more women in behind the scenes, in front, all that. And then when talking about Hispanics and Latins like we are, did you ever feel left out in Star Wars because you didn't feel connected to some of the characters, or was that something that didn't kind of come that you thought of?
This will be interesting because we can actually compare experiences, and we have a different... we're from different age groups.
You can say it. I'm old. So, that's fine.
No, but it's going to be interesting because growing up in Puerto Rico, it's different for every generation, I think.
Yes.
Like every time we get more Americanized. And I don't know how it was for you, but in my case, I did not. Because even though, and not to get political or anything, but I honestly, when I see the U.S. flag, I feel nothing. Like it's our parent company or something. But I honestly don't feel anything. But I grew up knowing, yes, I have a passport, I'm a US citizen, I'm an American. So for me, I never really felt out. It wasn't until the sequels were coming out, and they cast Oscar Isaac, and here's this Cuban Guatemalan who's in Star Wars. I'm like, that's me. He has a similar skin color because spoiler alerts, not all Latinos are black. And that was the first time where I really felt like, oh my God, that's me. Because there were others in the
Yeah.
prequels, which we'll get to, but he was, he's younger. He looked the part, and I don't know, that was the first time that it like hit me. But growing up, I really didn't think about it.
Right. And great job comparing yourself to Oscar Isaac. I wish I could also. Yeah, of course. Even if it's just in age and skin
I
color, but yeah.
I would give a limb to look like
No,
Oscar Isaac.
dude, when I was doing our list, I was looking for pictures to kind of match with the video. So, oh man,
Yeah, please
there's
let
too
it be
much.
known that I don't think I look like Oscar Isaac. He's clearly just my same ethnicity.
So before I jump into my experience, which also is a little bit similar, it's important for people out there because I've lived now here in the States since 2008. So I don't want to do math, but like 13 years. I still have, it hasn't happened recently, but occasions people tell me, hey, do you need a green card? Do you need this? I'm like, no, I'm Puerto Rican. I'm an American citizen. I'm older than you. I've been an American citizen for longer than you have.
It's
So no.
it's that joke that I didn't immigrate from Puerto Rico. I moved from Puerto Rico.
Yes. And then also for people out there, Hispanics and Latinos, Latins, which is the new want to be inclusive, it's not the same. It's not mutually exclusive. You can be Hispanic and Latino. You can be Hispanic and not be a Latino, or vice versa. People from Brazil, Haiti, for people from Haiti, they're Hispanics. I mean, there are Latinos
They're
from Latin
Latinos, okay.
America, which is Caribbean, South America, Central America, Mexico. Well, they speak Portuguese, so they're not Latinos. People from Spain, they're Hispanic, obviously,
Exactly.
the motherland. They're not Latinos, so it's not the same. Don't bunch us in the same one. Hispanics and Latinos are different. And like you say, skin colors, Puerto Rico, one of the first things they tell us, we're a mix of three races: black slaves, people from Spain, white Spaniards, and then our native Taino Indians. So we're a mixed culture. You and I, we look different, and a lot of people. My brothers has a darker skin color that I have, so we are all different. All right. So with that history kind of lesson out there, so very similar. I was fortunate enough to grow up in a house that we had cable, and a lot of the shows I watched were in English. Star Wars I watched in English. I grew up watching those movies, and I felt connected to Luke Skywalker. Again, being 6, 7 years old, whatever, I didn't have that mentality of, oh, I don't feel represented because it's a different nationality, they're Americans or whatever. It's, yeah, I like that character, I connect with him. So I never had that a lot of the generation now have that kind of disconnect from the characters or the fandoms that they follow. They don't see themselves. I didn't have that, like you mentioned. To me, Star Wars, I see myself in Luke Skywalker, and that's that. But as the years go by, you do understand the difference. Me with 2 kids and my daughter who's a little bit older, starting to watch this. Who are her favorite characters? Rey. She likes Sabine in Rebels, Padme in the prequel. So she gets connected to those characters, which for me as a parent is great to be able to see that in her. And although I didn't have that connection, like you said, when you saw Oscar Isaac, you saw yourself in him, or you kind of had that feeling. For me, when it changed a little bit was with Cassian, because he was kind of the first one to be a co-lead. I know Poe was a little bit in The Force Awakens, but his role kind of changed because even he said he was going to get killed off, but then he talked to JJ and then kind of extended his part. Having Diego Luna as a co-lead, I can, okay, we're starting to get out there. And then we do this list. Oh, there's a bunch of us out there. Let's talk about it. All right. So like we said, there's a lot of Hispanic and Latino actors out there that have been cast in Star Wars, have some great parts. We picked our top 5, but before we get to our top 5, we got some honorable mentions. So we'll start with you. Give me a few of your honorable mentions, and then we'll pick one and talk a little bit about that one.
Oh, perfect. So I have DJ. It's Benicio Del Toro, Puerto Rican, like really Puerto Rican. In Star Wars, that was a huge moment for me.
Yeah.
I have Lupita Nyong'o, who's I learned this through making the list. She's actually Latino. She's Mas I have Din Djarin. Wait, no. I have Kanan, who, surprise, surprise, Freddie Prinze Jr. has
Mhm.
Puerto Rican family, and I've known this for a while, but yeah, so he didn't make the cut, but he's here. And I have another character who I have no proof that he's Latino, but I'm sure he's Latino, and
We're
it's
claiming him. Okay.
Elsar Man.
Elsa man.
He's Gael Garcia Bernal in my
Yeah.
head,
All right.
so he's Latino. And I also have Andor, who I would like to talk a little bit about more, but I don't know if he's on your list. If he is, then we'll bump him for
So
later.
if you wanna wait for Andor, he's on my
Yeah,
top five. I won't say
I'll wait.
where, but we'll get to talk about him.
Okay.
So great list.
Mhm.
Lupita Nyong'o, like you said, Mascanada, I didn't know about. Doing the
Nope.
research, she was born in Mexico, I believe, and then
Mhm.
okay, there's that connection, but I didn't know this, so that was a surprise. I'll say I forgot about Freddie Prinze Jr. and I shouldn't. He's I
Yeah.
think a quarter Puerto Rican because his dad was half Puerto Rican,
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze, and then he's a quarter Puerto Rican. So come on, Kanan Jarrus, I forgot about him, and then he made my list. He's in my top
And,
five. I
and
say,
he owns it, man. And he's like,
yeah.
yeah, I used to go to Puerto Rico as a kid. Freddie Prinze he's a national treasure, man.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about your list. Let's pick one. Let's pick DJ. So Benicio Del Toro is this great Puerto Rican actor. Everyone in Puerto Rico
Outstanding.
knows who he is. Once he kind of blew up, I don't know, about 15 or whatever years ago. Anything that he does, we gotta watch, and I love
Hmm.
everything I seen of him. So DJ, this was a character that didn't get a lot of screen time, but I think what he represented was very important.
Yeah, he's very important to the plot of the film. Like he's
Mhm.
this very nihilist character, and Finn learns through him. It hurts. It pains me not to put him on my top five because I love Benicio del Toro,
Yeah.
and as you said, Puerto Rico loves him. Like he's an icon here.
Mhm.
Uh, but I just didn't like him in the movie that much. And I love The Last Jedi. I've done a
Yeah.
billion episodes on that movie, but it's what he and Ryan went with the character. I wasn't that on board with. I love what he represents. He's not bad. I just didn't connect to that character
Yeah.
specifically.
So very similar. Where he was cast, I was over the moon. I'm sure every Puerto Rican person out there was. There was a lot of talk out there. Is he gonna be a Sith? Is he gonna be this big Imperial? What's his name? Oh, he's DJ. What does this mean? Don't join. Okay, yeah,
Mhm.
whatever.
Sure.
So what I love about his character in the movie is just that part in that space cruise or that ship that he stole with BB-8, and then when he's talking to Finn and saying, "Hey, we're just a machine, man. It's all the same, good guys, bad guys, made up words." I love that
Hmm.
because again,
No,
Star Wars and real world. Sorry, go
there's
ahead.
there's people that think like that. Like even now with
Mhm.
everything that's happening, there's still people who believe that. And
Yeah,
it's
but
hard.
it's also very kind of Tony Stark in that first Iron Man. He's just selling weapons of war, where
Yeah.
whatever. I'm here to sell these weapons. Whoever wants to use it, whatever. I'm here to make money, and that's the war game, I guess. So I did
Hmm.
like that part. The way the character was portrayed, okay, I didn't enjoy it that much. Escaping from the prison when he met BB-8. All right, didn't. It's just that part in the ship I did enjoy a lot. I was hoping for him to come back in episode 9, but he wasn't there. All right,
Hmm.
so my list, I got a long list here of honorable mention. Let me pick a few that you didn't say. You might have them on your list. I'm gonna say some that they're not on your list. So we have John Leguizamo, another great Puerto Rican actor out there, has been in the game for years. He was Goy Koresh, the first episode of Mandalorian season 2 in that prize fighter ring. He kind of was the gangster in there.
Yeah.
Horatio Sands, like I mentioned, the Mithril, and then let's give some love to Star Wars Resistance. We have the Dosa family, Tora
Yeah.
Dosa, Captain Emmanuel Dosa, and Venisa Dosa, played by Mirna Velasco, Jason Hightower, and Tasia Valenza. Resistance doesn't get a lot of love, so let's give a little bit of mention out there to other Hispanic and Latino actors
Yeah.
that might not get too much love. But like you said, I had Benicio del Toro, I had Lupita Nyong'o as Mascanada, and okay, I'll give this one out. I know it's in your top 5, and we'll talk about them a little bit more. Ahsoka Tano, Rosario Dawson, because I just grabbed that scene or that episode that she was in. I didn't take the whole Ahsoka Tano, and I think she did a great job, but it didn't make my top 5.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
All right. If you guys are watching this live, let us know in the chat. If you're watching this later, let us know in the comment which of those characters. If you have any favorite Hispanic or Latin actor out there in Star Wars, some of those characters. And as always, make sure that you're subscribed to our show, that you comment, you like this video, all that fun stuff that we do here on the YouTubes. Okay, so let's go to our top five. So we'll interchange. You'll say your top five, we'll talk a little bit, I'll say mine, and then keep going down the list. So your number five, who's your number five on your list?
Okay, so we'll say all list and then
No, just say your number
okay.
five. Hopefully I
Okay,
have
so
it in the
my
right
number
order.
five, it's kind of a sheet, but I have the Martez sisters.
All right,
Both
yeah.
of them. So so let's start. The actresses who play them. It's this. Okay, Elizabeth Torres. I think her parents are from Puerto Rico, and the other one, the one who plays Trace, I can't pronounce her name, so sorry, but it's like Bridget Cali, I think.
Yeah.
I think she's from Mexico, and her parents are from Cuba or something like that. The reason I picked them, I know there's a lot of heated debate around these characters, and even when they popped up back in Bad Batch, I liked them. I honestly liked them when they showed up in Clone Wars. I didn't really like those episodes. They weren't bad. They were fine. But I like what these characters represent.
All right.
Like,
if we're talking Martez sisters, I gotta show my. Is it Trace? I don't know.
I think it's Trace.
Yeah, I gotta go with my half shave.
Yeah.
But right now it's not half shave. I'll have my Martez kind of here throwback to everyone out there. Martez sisters, that arc in season 7 of Clone Wars, and when I did my review way back when, it's a great thing about TV shows, because if this was a one-off, I would have hated those characters and hated the arc. By the third and fourth episode, I don't want to say I fell in love with them, but I understood why they were there, why it was important for Ahsoka's story, seeing kind of these people that were affected by the Jedi trying to do good. Yeah, we stopped this bounty hunter, whoever they were chasing. We killed your parents. Sorry, it's the way of the Force, basically. But we got the bad guy. And it's like, really? Life doesn't stop there. So I did enjoy them. And then Bad Batch, I know there was a lot of talk in Bad Batch that, the universe is small because all these people start coming in. I didn't feel that a lot, especially when Hera came in, and that's where people started complaining. And I think Hera made sense. To me, the episode with the Martez sisters made the galaxy feel smaller, because of all the people that are going to be at that same time on this spot looking for that same droid to be the Martez sisters. It didn't make sense to me, but I did enjoy the episode as a whole. I do enjoy the characters now. So, again, 2 Latina actors out there. Yeah, bring it. Forget about the criticism. I think it was okay.
More than anything, I just love that they're obviously Latinas.
Yes.
It's like I could see them with a caldero, making arroz con gandules. They're like very obviously Latina, and I love that the message they bring. Like, basically, we're in an era that the Jedi sold their souls to be in this war to help, but there's like a bunch of innocent people who need help, and their voices are not being heard. Very Latino, like we're these groups of people that people usually like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And I really love the role they play in Star Wars, and I really like the characters. People didn't like them because of their hair or something. I don't know.
Come on. We gotta. This is the new thing out there.
Tell them how it is, Alberto.
Yeah. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to do this?
Yeah.
So the funny thing, as you said, they don't hide it. You can see them. They're Hispanic, Latino, whatever you want to say, which comes into mind when we talk about these characters from animated making the jump to live action. There's always got to be representative of the voice actors and the design of the characters. A lot of people say, oh, no, it's Star Wars. There's no Americans. There's no black people. No, dude, it's obvious. Especially with Sabine most likely showing up in Ahsoka. There's been a lot of talk. It has to be an Asian character or this, and some people, no, whatever. It's Star Wars. Don't think about it.
If, if people go like that, but Luke is the whitest kid ever. So
Yeah, imagine that's someone else for Luke Skywalker will be hell. All right, let me, my hair is wild. I gotta go with
yeah, no, get it under control, man.
my. All right. So, anything else with my test sister before we move on to my number five?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
All right. So, number five. This is pretty obvious. It's gonna be in everyone's list. It's the first one that people think about. Is Bail Organa. So,
And
Jimmy.
he's actually my number 4. So
Oh, don't spoil it. We'll get
yeah,
to it.
well, let's tie it in. Let's tie it in.
Yeah, there's some that kind of my number five is your number four. You have a number. I have a number four. That's your number three or something. So we'll just mix it in. So Bail Organa is my number five, and Jimmy Smith again, another iconic Hispanic Latino actor out there, and he's the one that jumps up to everyone. Oh, Hispanic in Star Wars, Jimmy Smith, Bail Organa. And as researching this, and a lot of people know this, there was a character kind of by the same name. I think they was called Bale and Teals in episode one. This poor actor out there, they recorded his scenes and then they cut him off. It didn't work, and they recast it, created Bail Organa, and then it's everything else is history. He did a great job in Attack of the Clones, hitting that when the clones come and he's, oh no, the war is starting. He kind of does this motion, just hitting that whatever that wall. Is always funny to me. And then he sacrificed himself in the Jedi Temple or going to the Senate when Jet Lucas gets killed, a poor Jedi, and he's like, no, and then kind of jumps and saves Yoda. Come on, he saves Yoda, meets with Kenobi, knows the secrets, knows about the twins. He's a very important character in Star Wars. And then, of course, he shows up in Rogue One. Come on, Bail Organa. No one hates Bail Organa, right?
Nope.
All right, so let's jump right in. You said it's your number four.
Number
so
4. Yeah.
Let's talk to me about Bail.
So he's the first Puerto Rican in Star Wars, right?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, and this guy is very Puerto Rican. He got arrested during the Vieques protest. He's not that big an actor as Benicio Del Toro, but I think he's one of those actors that people here love.
Yeah.
Because I think he wasn't even born here, but he feels like very Puerto Rican. And dude, Bale, he's awesome. He raised Leia. Leia is Leia in part because of him and Breha. Yeah, so he's rewatching the prequels. You actually notice how big a character he is. He's usually like in background, but he's very important, and he's crucial in the building of the rebellion. And dude, I remember when he showed up in Rogue One, that was like I got the chills, man. Like I love Jimmy Smith. I really hope he's on Andor and Kenobi. Probably more on Andor than Kenobi, but if he's on both, more Jimmy Smiths is
you can't go wrong.
Great, yeah. So I love Bail Organa, and just give us more. Give us a Bail Organa book, like.
Yeah, come on. He's been in a few. He was in Leia, Princess of Alderaan by the great Claudia Gray, one of my favorite books. Yes, it's YA. Shot it. It's one of the best Star Wars books out there. We get a love with him and with Breha. We see how important he was in building who Leia would eventually be. All that he's in the background creating the rebellion in that book. I believe he's a little bit also on the first Padme novel, Queen Shadow, I think it is. I haven't read the other one, but yeah, give us a Bail Organa focus novel or something. All the behind the scenes from Revenge of the Sith kind of show him building this rebellion. So yeah, give us more.
Have you read Bloodline?
Yes.
He's not in the book because he's dead, but he's a presence. There's a statue. Leia constantly reflects on him. He's part of the inciting incident of the book.
Yeah, so I gotta go back. I gotta give Bloodline another listen. That's excuse me. It's the first Canon book that I read. When I said, Canon is back, or Legends is Legends, so Expanded Universe is Legends. We're starting fresh with this thing called Canon. I said, okay, I'm gonna pick up. I didn't pick the Chuck Wendig Aftermath trilogy because I heard the first one wasn't too good. It was like 500 pages. I wasn't gonna go through that to then read the others. But Bloodline came out. I said, okay, I'll give Bloodline a chance. But it was so long ago they have to go back and
No.
read it. But yeah, I do remember being a very important book, a very good book, I should say. Again, it's Claudia Gray.
Yeah.
And Bail Organa, we all want more, so give us more. It makes sense for him to be in Andor. He better be in Andor, I should say. And can always make some sense, even if it's some communications, because there has to be a way for him to communicate with Obi-Wan, I guess, with everything that's going on in Rogue One. So yeah, it makes sense for him to show up on both, even if it's just for one episode. So hopefully we can get it. And
No.
more Jimmy Smith is more Jimmy Smith. Come on, no
No,
one's gonna.
no one's gonna complain. No one.
Yeah, I did an episode. I think it was on our second season about underrated characters, and all was because of Bail Organa. Some people say, "Oh, underrated characters," and I know everyone talks about those characters. And then Bail has started to get a little bit of a comeback along with
I'll
Vegas.
I'll just say it. He raised Leia.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Yeah.
All right, so number 4 will be a cheat. I have it here on my shirt. It's Mando, the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, Pedro Pascal, and I'll remove my Star Wars cred card or whatever. I forgot about him when I started doing the list.
Me
I
too.
was like 4. Okay, well, not too bad then. We're like 4 or 5 down, and when I searched on Google, he was, I think, the first one that showed up. And all right, Pedro Pascal. How can I forget about that one that's out there right now? But again, Din Djarin came into the scene last year or 2 years ago and just exploded. People that didn't watch a lot of Star Wars watch Mandalorian, and he just took this character for most of the seasons. He's just being his voice. Sometimes he's not the one even under the helmet and the armor. It doesn't matter. He's the character. He's brought a sensibility to this guy, a charisma, and then of course all the hate, all the hurt at the end of season 2. That episode, finally revealing his face to Grogu, tears coming down his eyes, tears coming down my eyes, and he made us care about a faceless trooper basically.
Yeah.
Just because of his voice acting and then everything else. And kudos to the other people that play the character, but it comes from his voice and the way he kind of created Din Djarin. So Mando, Pedro Pascal, my number 4.
Yeah, no.
And I think we'll just jump right into. Here's your number 3. So we're just changing numbers here.
Yeah, no. So I echo everything you said. I love Pedro Pascal. He's I actually, the first time I saw him was in Game of Thrones, and
Sure.
he took a hold of the fandom. I think the Game of Thrones fandom loves Oberyn Martell, and I think he got announced for this role like in the perfect moment, because he was still big because of Game of Thrones. He was doing Narcos. He then did Wonder Woman, which regardless of what you think about that movie, it's a big movie. He's a star. He's part of the main cast of that film. So he's like a big name right now.
Mhm.
And here's another guy who's very obviously Latino, and he's a great actor for everything you said. He made us care, and it's voice acting, man. It doesn't get enough credit because it's not the same thing. You see what a great actor he is when in that episode of The Believer, when he has to take off his mask but keep his composure. You see the pain in his eyes, but throughout most of the show you're not seeing his eyes, and throughout with his voice, with what little he says and how he says things, he made us fall in love with that character. And I love Din Djarin. He's a great character. He's on a very interesting journey. I was actually talking to Andres about this. Not Andres. I think it was Roberto. We talked about this when he came on the podcast, and it's very interesting to see where his story goes, because it could end up being one of the most epic and biggest Star Wars stories on this character who we thought was going to have like a very contained story. It could actually be this huge not coming of age, but this huge hero's journey. And I love Din Djarin.
Let's speculate a little bit on what Mando season 3 could be. Because like you said, when Mandalorian was announced, it's this bounty hunter show, supposed to be Boba Fett, but we're not gonna do him. It's this new Mandalorian, and people, can that be a show? Is this gonna be a kind of a per episode. Every episode just going him on hunts, getting some bounties and coming back. And everything got thrown out the window at the end of that first episode with Baby Yoda. And the progression that he had on those 2 seasons. But then this ends, Grogu's gone, he's with Luke. Well, now we have the dark saber, we have Bo-Katan, and the Empire still there, but he's the rightful ruler of Mandalore, right? If he's holding that dark saber, I don't know the whole history, so don't come at me. But it's very interesting, like you said, to see what's going to happen in this third season. I hope it's focused on that, focus on Mandalorian culture and what it means, going back to Mandalore, rebuilding after the Empire. I hope it's going to be that. And then will he want to be this leader, which right now I don't think he wants, but I don't know. We have then Bo-Katan, that's like, that's mine. I want to take that back. So what do you think? Do you have any speculation, any idea or anything that might happen in season 3?
I don't really know where. Well, we have an idea where it's gonna go. Like I think it's a safe bet that we're gonna see the reunification of Mandalore, probably. Maybe see these clans come together, but at the same time, it's an interesting crossroads I think Star Wars is in, because I think classic Star Wars would go like, he doesn't want to be the leader, but he's gonna grow into it, and Bo-Katan will learn to not be so power hungry, maybe. I think that would be like the classic Star Wars story. That's what everyone could expect, but I hope it's a bit more nuanced than just like, you have to be the leader.
Yeah,
like maybe establish that the lore behind the Darksaber is stupid. Like maybe the best warrior isn't necessarily the best leader, and maybe Din can go through this whole journey, maybe learn to care about something bigger than himself, a cause, be a leader, and not end up being the Mandalore. Like, and maybe through that journey, Bo-Katan can learn to be more humble, look for peaceful solutions, maybe more of a Jedi way of life, and that's how she becomes the rightful ruler. So I would love to see that. Like, I want to see them work together with these conflicting ideologies, because from the very beginning, they believe in very different things. He's basically in a cult, and she's like, wait, what?
Yeah, like the first 2 seasons is just this battle of identities, right? What does it mean to be a Mandalorian? This code, this is the way. And then he starts meeting all these other Mandalorians. It's like, whoa. There's different codes. What's all this? So if he goes to Mandalore, meets all these other clans, it's going to be very interesting. I do hope they go that way. And let's see if they answer, because in Rebels, Sabine gives Bo-Katan the Darksaber. She doesn't say, no, we got to fight to the death. What happened there? Of course, how did she lose it? How did, I forgot his name, ended up with the Darksaber in the first place? This bad guy.
Idiot. I can't remember his name, damn it.
Well, we know, people out there know who we mean. Yeah. So how did he end up? Moff Gideon. How did Moff Gideon end up with the Darksaber? So a lot of interesting stuff out there. So at least for myself, I know a lot of people want Grogu to come back. Keep him away, at least for 1 season. Let's do this season about something else, be it about Mandalore. And like,
quick pause. Yeah, finish. But I have a quick comment after.
No, go ahead, because I'm gonna. Okay, sorry, I keep cutting you off. So, like you mentioned, how important voice acting is. Look now, this Mario movie casting, and everyone complaining about Chris Pratt because he has his issues. But again, Mario and Luigi are a little bit, they're Italian, okay? Chris Pratt doing this, give actual work to voice actors, not just to big stars. So it is very important. All right, sorry, now go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. You mentioned Moff Gideon. I could have sworn Giancarlo Esposito was Latino, but he's not. He's from Denmark. What the fuck?
Yeah, man, I with that name, I'm like, let me double check this.
And he's in Breaking Bad. He's Guatemalan, I think, in the show. And no, he's not Latino.
All right, so last thing, Narcos. Don't sleep on Narcos. That first season is great.
I've only seen the first season.
I only saw the first season, and then I saw the first season of Narcos Mexico with Diego Luna, and then I haven't seen anything else because there's too much stuff out there. And then Netflix had their big show this morning or today, and there's like 20 different shows. I want to watch all of them. I don't know. I don't have
There's
enough
a lot.
time.
There's a lot, and there's too much Star Wars for me to look at other
Yeah.
things. It's a lot.
All right. So my number three, we mentioned a little bit when we started talking. It's Paul Dameron, Oscar
Oh.
Isaac. So he's there. He had to make it again. New trilogy. He's the face, one of the big three. I know some people will say big four if we count him, Kylo, Finn, and Ray.
Hmm.
But Paul Dameron with Oscar Isaac did a great job with this character, especially at least for me. The Force Awakens was I don't not his best because it's when he has the least to do, but when he kind of broke out. Like we mentioned at the beginning, he was slated to die when the Tie Fighter crashes on Jakku. But then he talked to JJ, and I always die at the beginning of my movies, just keep me around. And he went on the way to be a general of the Resistance.
Yep.
But one of my favorite parts of The Force Awakens is when they're escaping in the TIE fighter. Him and Finn, they had that conversation. FN, no, you're Finn. We're doing this together. Just celebrating. Yeah, every time they destroy a cannon. And I just love what he brings to it. He's, again, he doesn't hide his culture. He doesn't hide that he's Guatemalan. I think, right when they shot, what's the name of this? Whatever, where the moon is at the end of A New Hope, and it's on
Uh. Wait. What?
this planet in New Hope. This is gonna be destroyed by
Oh,
the
Yavin.
Yavin. Yeah, Yavin 4. Come on, how did I forget about
He's
Yavin?
born there.
Yeah, I was gonna say he was born there where they shot this. His parents were part of the rebellion in that comic book at the end of Return of the Jedi. So yeah, Poe Dameron, Oscar Isaac has to be there on the list.
All I'll say about Oscar Isaac, Paul Dameron, he's the reason for the name of my podcast. So,
Hmm.
Star Wars.
Yeah, there's that video of him saying that. So I
Twice,
know
actually.
we'll talk about him a little bit more as we go on.
Yeah.
So let's go on to your number two. But before, I mean, you can say, let me find. Okay, so number two for Oti. Oh, wait. Let me get this out of the way. All right, there we go. All right, so your number two is.
Yeah. So my number two is Ahsoka by Rosario Dawson, specifically Rosario Dawson's Ahsoka. I was very skeptical of this
Mhm.
casting. Very skeptical. I wanted Ashley Eckstein to be the actress behind Ahsoka live action because I love what she did. She gave life to this character, and for so many years, I wanted her. But I was so pleasantly surprised with that episode. The Jedi, it's called, and I know people have issues with her. I know people have issues with her acting in Star Wars. For me, she was Ahsoka. Like
Mhm.
I never doubted it for a second. She was Ahsoka. I was never out of the moment, out of the character. I think she perfectly embodied what Ashley set up for her and the character she built, and she just took it, made it her own, and ran with it.
Mhm.
The physicality, the different gestures, everything. I don't know how you feel about her in this episode, but I think she nailed it, and I can't wait to see more of her, and especially in the show. And yeah, I like Rosario Dawson, and yeah, I love what she did with the character. And random plug. She's been teasing around playing La Borinqueña, which is a Puerto Rican comic book character. And please, someone, Netflix, Disney, whoever, make this happen. Like, yes.
Come on. I mean, that's the way she got Ahsoka, right? She
Yeah.
posted it out there. There was a bunch of fan casts. I think there was some art that someone did, and she just tweeted this out. She was a proponent of, hey, I would love to play Ahsoka. I don't remember
Mhm.
if she said that she was a Star Wars fan. Which again, to me, doesn't matter. You don't need to be this lifelong Star Wars fan to be in Star Wars. But she was all for it. Yeah, Ahsoka would love to play it. And then 5, 6, whatever years later, here she is. So I know there were some issues with her family right
Yeah.
before this came out that supposedly got settled out of court or in court, whatever. So, but
The
separating that from the actual acting.
the for I was pretty close to the. I wasn't close to the case. I was paying close attention to it, and from what I understand, the case is still going on. The
Okay.
charges against her specifically, they were dropped. And I could. I'm a law student. We could talk for a long while why and why was she in that lawsuit. That's fine, but yeah, at least her part was the cases were
Yeah,
dropped.
yeah. My dad was a defense lawyer, like criminal
Mm.
defense lawyer. So even though I try to stay away from it, I do kind of remember a little bit about it. So
Yeah.
yeah, I know how. Yeah, this case was thrown out, or this settlement, or whatever. So there's a lot more, but
Yeah.
we won't get into it today. So you said, what did I thought about her? So like I mentioned, she was in my honorable mentions,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me a while to get used to it because we're so used to Ahsoka in animated form that seeing her live action threw me off. That first couple of moments, or the first 10 minutes, I'm like, is this really Ahsoka? I don't know. It
Mm-hmm.
just didn't feel like it. I think might have been just visually because we're used to the animated form is more colorful. Clone Wars, of course, is a lot younger.
The
This,
Lecos are wrong.
yeah, that I don't care about that. That make the changes, whatever works for the medium, that's fine. I can't believe that was a thing for I don't know how long. The Legos, dude, shut up. It
She's like,
doesn't.
it wasn't comfortable. I couldn't do the fighting.
And then just put it in CGI, and then it doesn't look right, and you complain that the CGI is wrong. So just leave them; they're fine. They're Leiku. People probably didn't know what Leiku mean, what Leiku was, and they just found it. All right, her Leikus were
and
fine. Um,
and
yeah.
yeah, no. Another very important thing for me, if this show had been show run by someone else and Filoni wasn't as involved,
Exactly.
this uh, maybe there could be more criticism. But the fact that Filoni isn't the showrunner, he isn't making these bit calls. But Favreau, like, who do you want for
Mhm.
Ahsoka? She's your baby.
Yeah.
Like, who? Like, and having Filoni involved, directing that episode, overseeing this character being brought to live action, that that made me feel safe going into it. Because I'll be honest, when that episode started, I was like, this guy's yeah, impress me,
Yeah.
like,
And that's the
and
worst way to be to watch something because I've been that way and I end up the same way. I start like this and I end up like that. Unfortunately, I did that for Bad Batch a couple of episodes.
okay,
And I'll blame myself for not enjoying some of them because I was looking for things to hate on it, which
hmm
wasn't just sit back and relax. But I didn't do that on the first few, on a couple of them, not the first few ones. But 100%, I'm 100% sure that Filoni decided the
yeah,
casting for Ahsoka. He wasn't gonna pick whoever Disney, Lucasfilm, whoever wanted. He was gonna be his choice, 100% for Ahsoka. And the second time that I watched it is when I went, no, this is Ahsoka. I was just on
mm,
my head. She did a great job. Seeing the white lightsabers just kind of kills it. All the physicality, like you mentioned. And then the meeting with Grogu, she being this experienced Jedi at that point, it's like, okay, because Rebels is my favorite Ahsoka. It
hmm
makes sense for her to be this type.
and
So that second time is when I got, okay, I get it now.
that intro scene, that's
Yeah.
so cool, so cool. Like, she's throughout the episode, she's like this badass
Yeah.
samurai, and I love her.
And that episode has some of the most beautiful scenes in all of Mandalorian.
Yep.
Just everything in that episode. Again, visions, Japanese culture, everything's in there. Everyone that's talking crap about you've seen those tweets out there, people saying it's too Japanese. What? This doesn't match with Star Wars. Dude, just shut up. Go talk
What
about
is
yeah.
what do you think the concept for the show was?
Yeah, that's the words. It's there. It's vision. It's inspired. Dude, just get out
Shut
of it.
up.
Okay, so number my
Sit
number.
down.
Yes, rather say go outside and read a book or something.
Or
Just
read the description about the
yeah,
show.
it's right there. It's on the synopsis. The first thing that you read. All
So,
right, visions next week. Next week. All right.
okay.
So my number two is someone that I mentioned before. I actually forgot that they were Latinos and Puerto Ricans. Just to oh man, how did I forget this? And he's one of my favorite Jedi out there. It's Kanan Jarrus, my number two, played by Freddie Prinze Jr. Like you said, I can't believe I forgot about Kanan. So to me, Kanan, and I'm talking now more because Freddie Prinze Jr., of course, he came up in the late '90s doing all these kind of teenage horror movies that were very popular then. He was in the Scooby-Doo movies, and then a lot of them afterwards. Sam Michel Gellar, all that stuff. People that were teenagers around that same time kind of grew up with him.
Yep.
He went away a little bit, and he came back with Kanan. Kanan is one of those characters that, for me, I said it hundreds of times. Rebels, I watched it the first time when it came out. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't blown away. When I watched it the second time, it's like, yes, I know why this is important. Rebels became my favorite animated series, and Kanan became my favorite character to that point that he's probably my top 5, not counting High Republic Jedi, because that's a separate list. Became one of my top 5, maybe top 3 Jedis of all time. And it's just his progression through training Ezra. And again, we just said voice acting, how important it is. The voice acting that Freddie Prinze brings to this character is top notch. And I couldn't rank him any lower just because of my love for this character. Mando is going up there. I know a lot of people love Din Djarin and Pedro Pascal. It's still only been 2 seasons. I have more of a kind of history with Kanan. So Kanan, Freddie Prinze had to be my number 2 favorite. Again, I just love everything with Kanan. Every time when he's with Bendu, oh, Kanan Jarrus, Jedi Knight, and when he finally gets kind of christened or passes the trials in the temple, and it's deemed a Jedi Knight by the Grand Inquisitor. It's just a scene that I tear up every time that I see it. And then learning when he's blind, learning everything again, trusting his feeling, trusting the Force. Come on, how can you not love Kanan? And again, Freddie Prinze Jr., his voice acting was superb.
I love Kanan. I'll be honest. I know there's like this cult around Kanan. Like people love him. I maybe don't fall in that category. I really love the character. I love what he represents, the journey he goes through. And I love Freddie Prinze, man. He's such a cool dude, and he has that great monologue breaking down what he sees Star Wars and what Filoni explains to him, and he's just such a cool dude. He's like he and Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was also in Rebels, by the way,
sisters.
They're famous, but they're not like Brad Pitt famous, for example. And to me, they're like those actors that feel like they're part of us. Like they love this. They're fans. Maybe not like making a podcast fan, but they understand it and they love it. And Freddie's awesome. I love having him part of this universe. And yeah, Kanan, he's great.
The only thing I don't like about Kanan is that I ordered a Funko Pop of Kanan, and the head popped off. I didn't like it. Yeah, but I asked for a refund. I got another one, so now I have 2 Kanans. But one of them is glued, so it doesn't bubble.
Okay.
But thank you I got 2. There's one with can't say too much, the great art by Roberto. How did that do? I have a Kanan there, and then another one on the shelf. Anyway, Kanan, great. All right, so your number 1, we made it to the list. The top 1 Hispanic and Latin actor for a friend, Oti, is the great. We talk a little bit about him. You go ahead.
And my number 1 is Poe Dameron by Oscar Isaac. And, talking about cool dudes, you can't get cooler than Oscar Isaac.
You see that picture there that I got? Man,
he's awesome. And now with the beard, and you know what? Like, thinking of possible episode 10, 11, 12, he's like the character that I'm most interested in. I have like this idea where his story might go, because I love making fan fiction, and I may or may not have like a draft of my version, but I just love him. I love the journey he goes through, like being this, hothead pilot and having to learn from Leia. Like that pairing is beautiful. Like he's like the son she lost, and she just wants to stir him in the right direction. I don't think she's afraid to lose him to the dark side or the First Order. She just wants him to be the best leader she knows he can be. And even in Rise of Skywalker, when he's already this big leader in the Resistance, he's still a hothead. He gets angry when they're in Kef Bir. It's a planet with Death Star. He loses his head, and Finn puts him in his place, and
This
Um,
light speed skipping we shouldn't do.
yeah, and did you read Free Fall?
No.
No. So that book, I think it's underrated. It didn't get like great reviews. It didn't get bad reviews either. But I love the story of Poe in that book. You see where he comes from and why he is the way he is, and everything Poe I find compelling, and everything Poe specifically with Oscar Isaac, I think it's even more compelling because um, the sequel trilogy, I think it's the best acted, specifically, obviously, because Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley, who honestly are at the top of the game, like
Sure.
acting. And then you get Mark Hamill giving this powerhouse performance in in Last Jedi, and Leia, Carrie Fisher, always great. But I think Oscar Isaac goes underrated because he's a
Yeah.
fantastic actor, and he did a great job with Poe.
Yeah, people get hung up in that. Oh, somehow Palpatine returned in that line. Like, come on, yeah, whatever. Well, he's great.
Yeah,
I talked a little bit about him before, and he's this great actor now. He was a great actor before when he was cast in Star Wars. He was known, but not
he
as
he he,
big. And then he's kind of just kept going and kept going.
he was like the big name going in because
Yeah,
Adam was in Girls, but that wasn't like a huge show.
yeah. So you
He
had Adam Driver that some people knew. John Boyega had been in that
Attack the
sci-fi movie. I
Block,
forget the name.
Attack the
Uh,
Block.
yeah, Attack of the Block, which is awesome.
It's
Which I
great.
think they're doing a second one. Daisy really brand new, but people knew the name Paul Dameron, and then he just keeps growing and growing. And now in Dune, Moon Knight, everything else out there. This new series in HBO. Well, he
Oh yeah.
brought he a great charisma to this character again, and he goes through ups and downs through all three movies.
Hmm.
So it's a great choice for number one to kind of represent the Hispanic and Latin culture out there. And like we said, like you said, at Podcast de Star Wars, he's
Yeah,
those interviews.
it was in Jimmy Fallon, and then in Celebration from Rise of Skywalker, where
Yeah.
he talks about his uncle having this shirt. And for those who don't know, right, because many people, the show is in English, but Star Wars basically is Star Wars, but Latinos have this things of never traducting things and wanting to say them, taking an English word and saying it as if it was a Spanish word,
Yeah.
and you get a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah,
all
that's
we
the
are,
way
man.
to do it, dude. Even here, I don't say all the words in English. When I try even talking to my kids, sometimes I gotta mix it up, and that's it.
And,
It's Star Wars. That's the way we talk.
you know what? It's not only Latinos, Hispanics. I lived in Spain,
Mhm.
dude.
Yeah.
Spaniards don't. Most of them don't speak any English, and they try, man. They try to shove those words in as if they were Spanish words. It's very funny.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go to. It's the main. I gotta go to Spain. All right, so we're just right over our 1 hour mark. So let's go ahead to my number one. You might know it already out there. Talk a little bit about him. My number one is Cassian Andor, Diego Luna. Great in Rogue One. Can't wait for the Andor series. Like I mentioned, the Andor series, when it was announced, became my number one most expected new thing in Star Wars, apart from the High Republic that was top and is still top. But before that big reveal last year in December with all those new shows, it was just Mando, Cassian, and Obi-Wan. Those were the three. Cassian was my most expected and still is because I think the Andor series is the most to surprise us and how big in scope it can be and shows both sides of this war and this rebellion, not just the building, like he said, the beginning of the revolution, but also from the empire side, what's going on, just a day-to-day life for regular people just need a job. I want to see that. But like I mentioned before, even though I didn't feel that was left out in terms of representation in Star Wars, because just the way I grew up, when I saw Cassian Andor as the lead or co-lead, is when I started saying, okay, there's a Hispanic person in Star Wars. We're making strides. And I just love that character so much. And you just talk about how great the acting is in the sequel trilogy. I think the acting in Rogue One is just as good. I think for myself, Rogue One is the best acted. Everyone in Rogue One brought it. And Cassian and Diego Luna, everything that he does in that movie, especially that conversation with Jean after what happens. I forgot the name of the planet where they bomb the facility where Jean Erso's dad were that conversation there. I've been in this fight since I was 6 years old. You haven't have to go through this. Now the war is real to you, all that, because he's been suffering for this for 6 years. I mean, since he was 6 years old. So everything that Diego Luna brought to this character just resonated with me and made me love this movie so much. I know people talk about Darth Vader at the end, but there's so much more to Rogue One. And to me, it's Jean and it's Cassian and it's Diego Luna. Talking about big names in the Hispanic and Latino communities, you don't get bigger than Diego Luna. So yeah, everything that he did for Cassian Andor worked for me. My number one at the moment, I can't wait for what's going to happen in the Andor TV series.
Yeah. So he didn't make my list because it's no secret. I'm not a huge. Huh?
I just said because you're wrong, but
because I'm not a huge fan of Rogue One, and it's ironic because I have the poster.
Yeah, I saw the poster.
That's the coolest Star Wars poster in my opinion. I love that poster, and I don't love that movie because I think it has great characters. You read Catalyst, you read Rebel Rising. They're outstanding characters, and I don't think the movie does enough with them. Okay. And that's why I'm very excited for the Andor show because in a show you have more time to spend with a character. And I don't know if that's your case, but Diego Luna is a massive Hispanic and Latino actor. Mm-hmm. Like if you are a fan of Latino cinema, you know who exactly. Diego Luna is. Movies like Y Tu Mamá También. He is he's like a well-known name, and I'm just so happy to see like people discovering this actor and this character who I don't know about you, but I've known about Diego Luna's work for
forever,
many years, and he's an outstanding actor. And seeing people like discover him and loving him because Diego Luna's a sweetheart, and you know this is only emphasizing my point that Elsa Man has to be Gael Garcia Bernal. Because if you people love Diego Luna, wait until you meet Gael Garcia Bernal. Because they're like this bros who are like best friends, and they're great actors, both of them. And yeah,
we just love a way for those two characters to meet, right? Elsa Man as Gael Garcia, and then Diego Luna as Andor. Just to have one conversation, just one.
Or leaving my dream away, could you imagine Gael Garcia Bernal as a Imperial in Andor season 3, for example? That'd be great.
You know, there's always secrets. Andor has been one of these shows that's been quiet. We don't know anything, no leaks. There were a few pictures of him on a beach or something. It's been quiet. It's been done. It's wrapped. I don't know. It's gonna be surprises.
I'm gonna bet some money. Gael is gonna be on the show at some point because they're very good friends. They're very good friends.
And I hope it's not this guy with a hat just hello in the background.
A droid or an alien.
Yeah, no, they have to have a few conversations just going at it. Oh yeah, it'll be. We'll get you. If he's there, we'll get you back for that show. We'll just talk about it.
Oh, please, yes.
I was gonna say something about Cassian and Andor. I can't remember. Oh. Another reason why I love Diego Luna so much in Star Wars, he's a fan. He's one of these, for myself, he's the best ambassador for Star Wars out there. Every junket, every interview that he did for Rogue One, he was the happiest anyone could be. It's like one of us being in Star Wars. He was just extremely happy. The joy that he had. I know a lot of people on Twitter, if you could interview one person for Star Wars, and people, Mark Hamill, all this, give me Diego Luna. I want to have that energy, and it comes from him. So I couldn't have anyone else. And with that, we'll jump into one of my favorite segments, which is Rebel Thoughts, when I hear from you guys, because it's related. In our segment, Rebel Thoughts. So for Rebel Thoughts, our friends at 50 Minutes, they write, it has to do with Diego Luna. Do you think Lucasfilm will ever let Diego Luna touch Jabba? So if you follow Rogue One and you follow Diego Luna's interview, he said that he's always been very interested in the texture of Jabba the Hutt. He always wants to touch Java. He talked so much about wanting to touch Java the Hutt. There's no better time because the Hutts are out there in this time frame for Diego Luna to be on Tatooine somewhere, meet Java the Hutt. He's in the underworld getting information, meet Java and put his arm around him or something. Please, please, it has to happen. A puppet. It can be CG. You just said that Gael Garcia is gonna be in there. I bet money Java the Hutt or at least
Okay.
A is gonna be there and he's gonna touch him.
Okay. He's in the perfect timeline for this.
Yeah.
Like if he's there. I could see an episode where they have to meet Java. I don't know if it'll be like this wink wink he's touching him. Probably they took him somewhere in, I don't know, Disney Studios, Disney Vault, and there's the original Java monster and he could touch it. But it would be an awesome nod. Please, Kathleen, if it hasn't happened, just take him to you guys have to have it somewhere. If it's in George's house, just go knock that door. He's like, hey, Kathleen, please take this boy to touch Java the Hutt, please.
Yeah. So I'll rephrase what I said. I bet money that Java's gonna be in the series. It might be CG, it might be puppet. I'll say he's gonna be there and Andor's gonna have a scene with him. But maybe not touch him in the actual TV show. But if it's there, he did it behind the scenes. And we're going to see it in a behind the scenes featurette, those Disney gallery. That's where we're going to see it. I'll bet my show. No, I won't. But it's going to happen. Come on. Like you said, just help him out.
Make Diego touch Java happen.
Hashtag. We'll get it trending at the end of this. So, yeah. All right. So that brings an end to our show as always. Ori, thank you for being here. Great talking to you. So where can our friends find you if you want to talk a little bit about your next or your upcoming shows? You're going to be here actually back in a few weeks talking about our favorite lightsaber battles with our friend Andrew Geha from Outer Rim Reads. Last time he was here, he took over my show. We'll make sure that doesn't happen again. But yeah, you'll be here again. But where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm dreading that list actually. But you can find me at Twitter and Instagram, Epe Star Wars, that thing right there. It says there. It's the same one for Twitter and Instagram. And I have a podcast called the Podcast de Estar Guars. It's mainly in Spanish. I'm doing English episodes now. There's going to be more content. So if you're interested, you can subscribe. This is going to be something for everyone. And yeah, I also have Film Not Included. That's a completely, totally Spanish podcast. But yeah, you can check it out too.
All right. So again, thank you, Oti, for being here. Thank you to the people on the chat, Tony, Mr. Rez, and Dale for being here. As always, thank you guys. And for me, if you're here, you know where to find me at Radio Rebel Pod on Twitter and Instagram, Radio Rebel Pod, Radio Rebellion Podcast at wordpress.com. We have our reviews of all the new novels that come out, everything High Republic related. There's also all the old podcasts are out there, video, audio. And yeah, we'll be back here next week, like I mentioned, with our friend Lauren Romo from the Galactic Podcast talking about Star Wars Vision. So thank you. See you guys next week. And as always, stay safe, be safe, and may the Force be with you.
Rebellions are built on hope.